COS, I believe, company, and all of a sudden I was not satisfied with school anymore. I know lots of people have been in that position. Well, the Employers Association Director General granted an interview, and one of the many things he said was that school curriculum, tertiary institutions curriculum in Nigeria does not align with industrial needs. Now, there will be questions as to why, what is a curriculum, what are industrial needs? And I always go to the dictionary, and this time I did. In education, a curriculum is broadly defined as the totality of student experiences that occur in the educational process. The term often refers specifically to a planned sequence of instruction or to a view of the student's experiences in terms of the educator's or school instructional goals. Now, as you might imagine, that's a mouthful, and I didn't get everything there. So a simpler definition is curriculum refers to the lessons and academic content taught in a school. Simple. So what they're saying is those things are not good enough for the industrial world. Now, my guest is someone who is and has been in this field for quite some time. Is Mr. Michael Ndeku. I like to call him a corporate consultant. But he is principal of Imagery, Michael Imagery, a consulting firm in Port Harcourt. He's an engineer by training, holds an MBA and several professional qualifications, with several years of working experience in international oil and gas firms and consulting for several businesses in and outside Port Harcourt. Good morning, Mr. Michael.
Good morning, Sam. Nice to be here.
Yes, it's nice to see you again. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
How you been?
I've been very good.
Okay. And Michael is not alone. We seem to have someone who, like me, was hungry in school but refused to have an employer. His name is Innocent Awilime. He's an IT professional. Hello, Innocent.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Sam.
Oh, Sam. Okay, good morning,
Thank you
Sam.
for joining us, Innocent.
Thank you.
All right. So, Mr. Michael, do you agree that tertiary institutions' curriculum does not align with industrial needs?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, it doesn't, because I think to a large extent our curriculum needs consistent updating to meet with the changing situations in time. I mean, look at what COVID has done. So now we are thinking virtual suddenly. I mean, virtual aligning with in-person experience, I mean, toe-to-toe, unlike before where if you told somebody you did an online school, they'll be looking at you funny. But now, that is, I mean, Harvard now has gone full-blown that, okay. So yes, the curriculum, I believe, should be given enough updating. No, because when we look at some of the requirements that the employers are talking about, the onus to a large extent resides on the student himself.
On the student?
Yes.
Not the institution?
The student.
Why?
Okay, since we have jumped into it, the report, let's look at something that the Director General of Industrial Training Fund, Joseph Harry, said. The ITF boss said, from the survey, 925 trades have been difficult and hard to fill in this country, the labor market. He said 19.5% vacancies are yet to be filled in the housing sector, while petrochemical, 13.9%. Why? Let's keep some. Due to the lack of requisite skills from unemployed Nigerians, the ITF DG said many vacancies are filled by non-Nigerians because they lack certain skills. Now, if you were to group those skills, we have what we call hard skills and soft skills. Okay. Now, if we look at what hard skills are, hard skills, bilingual, multilingual, database management, Adobe software, network security, statistical analysis, data mining. Soft skills, if you look at soft skills, integrity, dependability, effective communication, open-mindedness, teamwork. Now, when you begin to go down understanding better what hard skills and soft skills are, hard skills are technical knowledge or training that you gain through any life experience. in your career or your education. You gain it. If you've worked in the food service or retail, you may know how to use a point of sale system. A hard skill is using this radio,
the equipment,
equipment in this office.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there are some people who probably have been out of school for the past 10 years and probably still don't know how to use this equipment. That's on the person. It's not on the institution. That is on the person. The person has refused to update himself in that regard.
Yeah, but experience is the key factor there. You need to have that experience to gain that skill.
Yeah, but experience is outside the school. You don't gain experience per se in school.
Truly.
You gain experience outside the school.
Experience comes with access.
Yeah, okay. Let me use myself as an example here. When I'm hiring for companies, right, I usually say this stuff, that the only time I'm going to question your intellect is when you're coming in.
When you're coming in?
Yeah, coming into the company. We're going to check for intellectual acumen. I want to know if you have something upstairs. We're going to do an aptitude test. We're going to run all kinds of testing, SQL. We want to know if you have the intellectual acumen. The moment you come into the organization, we don't need to test your acumen anymore. You satisfied our requirements, we're good with you. From then on, people skills come in, communication come in, your willingness to learn come in, following the laws come in, teamwork comes in. So basically, when you begin to look at that, we're only testing for how sound you are coming in. Every other thing it's not something you can really, in my opinion, get in the university. You really can't. Except maybe in mass communication. I was in University of Benin. I did engineering. There wasn't a class that taught me effective communication skills. If somebody wants to bring that in there, that's fine. It's expected that when I'm done with the school, as I'm progressing, there are so many things that you as a student, you as an individual, you're going to have to update yourself on. In the best industry practice, you're going to open textbooks, you're going to talk to people, you're going to find out what do I need to add to myself that will separate me from the lot of students that have come out from that same university. What makes me stand out? What makes me more employable? What makes me more in demand? What would set me apart from the others? So that is my take. That's why I said it's a yes or no situation. But
So what does the school give you really?
The school gives you a platform to advertise yourself.
To advertise?
Yes, it's an advert. That's why it's called a CV. Your CV is an advertisement. Your curriculum vitae is just advert. You're telling somebody that I went to a certain place and I got a certain skill. I spent 4 or 5 years being educated by for those who are medical students, maybe 7 years or plus. And when I'm done, I'm going to put all that I have acquired on paper. Then I'm suddenly going to go to one company, one hospital, one engineering firm, and advertise myself. I'll take that paper and say, hey guys, guess what? I read engineering. They'll say, okay, please bring your CV. Even for graduate trainees, fresh out of the university, you're still going to advertise yourself. That is, your CV is an advertisement. And that is why it's so important that you go for training to know how to write your CV so that you properly present yourself.
But I think that a 4-year or 5-year course is a long and expensive time to be spent just on advertisement. That's a very expensive commercial.
I agree. That comes back to curriculum. There's countries where engineering is done in 2 years. Way back, Nigeria was doing engineering 4 years. Somebody in their wisdom said that with our infrastructure and whatnot, that 4 years was inadequate to produce quality, in quote, quality engineers. So somebody now made it 5 years. If it's possible, there are places where you do your masters for 12 months, and there are places you do your masters for 24 months. So the duration is at the behest of the organization. So whether it's 4 years, 2 years, 18 months, the point is that when you come out, the institution has given you an opportunity to advertise yourself capable to meeting the requirements that the organization requires. And please, just to understand this, nobody hires, I mean, any organization hiring young people fresh out of school with without a long-term plan on development should really look inward, and because that doesn't happen. We're going to train people. Every sound organization has its culture. They have the ways they do things. Google has a way it does things. Facebook has a culture. So there must be a training program to impact those skills, in quotes.
An opportunity for the person to grow on the job.
Of course, of course, of course. Why hire somebody when you do not plan that he started off as maybe first level engineer, and with you have a plan to making him the GM in the future? There must be a career path, a growth path. Yeah.
I believe Innocent will be speaking with us shortly, but before we get to him, there's also this assertion that Nigerian universities or tertiary institutions train people to look for jobs, while foreign education train people to create jobs. Do you agree with this?
Well, what does that really mean exactly? So let me get that. To train people to get jobs, meaning that
when you graduate, you're going to look
for a
job to be employed by someone. Meanwhile, in other countries, some people want to create value and create systems where they solve problems.
True.
Not really work for anybody. And so in doing that, most people who are in that position would create jobs. Do you agree?
I do. So it depends on the organization or the country. It depends on what the organization wants. If the organization in its wisdom is looking for smart guys that in the next 25 years will continue to move this company forward, I don't think they're creating just jobs. They're creating careers.
Careers?
Yes. Jobs and careers are two different things. They're not the same. They're creating careers. So, yes, so jobs. If somebody just creates a job and, okay, come and be my helper or stuff like that, using anything can be a job. Mason, vulcanizers, assistants, you get that. Yeah, so those are jobs. You know, the guy comes in, anything he sees, he takes. And right there on the job, he's thinking of his next job. But a career or a career path, now that is a different setup. And maybe that's where maybe the ITF guys are talking about. Maybe that's where they're coming from. That when they look at the quality of students that are coming out of the university and they're trying to position them in career paths.
Not jobs.
Not jobs. They seem to be so used. And that immediately, for instance, what do? They not certain and sort of thing. We're going to and those who have the lecture 1+1 to have to do, they keep saying, because of the large output of students, Nigerian universities are producing 100,000 students, and the limited number of jobs. They have to use certain filtering processes. One of them is, if you don't have a 2-1, which I think is very bad, which I think is elitist. It doesn't help the growth. No, it doesn't, because it's only Nigeria is practiced. If you go to the Western world, nobody's doing that, because they have surplus to requirement as per the number of jobs. There seem to be a lot of jobs. So if you're coming out of university, summa cum laude, you come in, which is our 2-1 and our first class, or 2-1 and our 2-2. But here in Nigeria, because the job in those industries are so limited, so somebody came up with the idea, and I disagree with it. We should find a way to end that.
All right. Now, in a sense, you said that you do not want to work for anyone. You're an IT professional. Tell us a bit about your story. Why did you make this decision?
Coming out of school, I did my IT with a big company in Port Harcourt here. So,
All right.
in my experience as an IT student, I discovered that I saw a lot of people that have been working for years, and at the end of the day, they still lived an average life, and there was really nothing to show for it.
What's your definition of an average life?
Just below I don't know, just a normal life, not really great. Just regarding to considering the number of years you've worked in the company
Can afford the car.
the time you've put in and the effort, considering the output. So I think it's not really fair enough. So starting up my own thing, I think I have my own time and I do great for myself.
So that's what inspired that move, that you didn't want to work for anybody.
Yes, that's what inspired the move. I didn't want to work for anybody.
Because you didn't want an average life.
No, I didn't want to be average at all.
Do you think that working for yourself would remove you from, the box of an average life?
I really think working for myself is going to remove me from the box of being an average.
I know a lot of people who do not have bosses, but they still qualify based on your definition of those with average lives. So are they doing it wrong?
Maybe the information they get is not sufficient, and I don't know, maybe they need to go for trainings and get more stuff in their head and maybe aim for something bigger.
So what information do you have that they need?
I just have this information that there is a room for improvement, and there is something bigger out there. There is, at every level, there's another level that's bigger, so you just need to keep going forward.
Okay, and how did you start?
I started off when I was in school, very little. Started from designing graphic designs and stuff, but now I'm moving into some other places and exploring new areas.
And how would you define your life now?
Very good.
I think it's very good, and I like the fact that I have my time and I can sleep all day if I want to.
And it's not average?
It's not average, no. It's not.
No, it's definitely not average.
When I was asking what your definition of average life is earlier, I heard Mr. Michael chip in, they don't have a car.
A good car.
I saw a lot of old men that have worked for a very long time, 10, 15 years. They drive the same car since they got in, and it's very bad.
What is a question of modesty? Some people are not crazy about, some people know where to spend.
Yeah, we know what modesty is, and we know when you're struggling.
Mr. Michael, now, I've noticed that most of the billionaires, mention anyone, they don't have a crazy fashion sense. Zuckerberg wears the same color of t-shirts. I'm sure he has like 1 million of them, but the same color of t-shirts. Steve Jobs always had turtleneck. Bill Gates is not the best looking guy in the room, but they are billionaires.
Yeah, but
Warren Buffett they've said that he's been driving the same car. It's a clean, beautiful car for about 7 years, but it's not what, the flashy people would want to drive. But we know that they have where they spend their money. If I look at these people from a distance without knowing their profile, I might also say they look average. Don't you think?
Well, first and foremost, for Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, when he appears before Senate, his suits are like $10,000.
No, that's different. That's different.
So I want us to let's clarify that
That
first.
is different.
Okay.
He's on a hot seat before Senate.
Secondly, Bill Gates, that you said, is currently the largest landowner in the U.S. and has like one of the most fantastic. No, I guess for the people that you mentioned, even the Warren Buffett that you talked about, his private jet is very exclusive.
Yeah, but the thing is, they choose where to spend, and on looking at them, you will not tell. So I'm trying to talk about that. They don't have a car. They don't look a certain way. There are places where they spend that you and I may not know.
I agree, totally. I don't believe that if you have so much money that you should be flashy about it. I don't ascribe to that.
Okay.
In fact, to me, I think it's the only people who can get away with things like that are maybe celebrities, because I think it comes with the territory.
Yeah, showbiz.
Yeah, showbiz. That's why it's called showbiz or show business.
All right. So Andrew has to take the headlines now, and after that we continue this conversation.
Okay.
Go anywhere.
Headline News, Nigeria Info on
92.3.
Headline News.
Hello, good morning. I am Ifeemi Andrew. River State lawmaker from Bunny on the foreign scene, U.S. and Joe Biden reverses some of Donald Trump's key policies hours after being sworn in. In business, oil rises to $56 on U.S. stimulus prospects. In entertainment, Michael Bolus, the famous Lagos multi-billionaire family Bolus, proposes to his girlfriend Tiffany, daughter of outgone U.S. President Donald Trump. In sports, world number one in tennis, Novak Djokovic, defends his letter to Australian Open Tournament director Greg Tilly to relax quarantine rules. Contact our newsroom on 0818 900 0017. Thank you for listening.
We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We crossfire in the morning. Crossfire in the morning. Get into the midday dialogue and tell you about the hard facts, and then let's talk into the chat station. All for you on 92.3 Nigeria.
3 Nigeria Info. My name is Sam Oracle Chinedu. My guests are still here. Mr. Michael Ndeku, who is a corporate consultant, and of course our IT professional, Innocent Willime. You're welcome once again, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right. So tertiary institutions' curriculum does not align with industrial needs, and Mr. Michael has been explaining whether or not he agrees. To a certain extent he does, and to a certain extent he does not. But let's look at unemployment in itself. Lots of people have pointed in different directions as to the reason for unemployment. A major one on the table is economic policies that do not promote job creation and entrepreneurship. The next is rapid population rate. Of course, in Nigeria, there's literally a boom here. So it almost seems like it is impossible that we would not have those problems. And what we have touched on, inadequate skills by applicants. Let's look at those other two factors, economic policies and population. How do they connect with people not getting suitable jobs?
Well, like you said, those are key indices to even measure economies. Population. I mean, when we're calculating the GDP of a country, we have to consider what the country is producing as per its population. That's why some countries like Ghana may be producing something even close to Nigeria, and they might say, okay, their GDP, I don't think Ghana's GDP is higher than ours or per se, but the point is that your population is a key indicator of measurement of how well the economy will do. Countries like China and India have been able to exploit that. China is a powerhouse today, it's the second largest economy in the world, and they have been able to exploit the massive, 1.3 billion people. Imagine that. That's a lot. And they have used that to making themselves an economic powerhouse that everybody goes to China. Here, back home here, yes, there are debates that Nigeria's population is working against us because of its size. But I beg to differ. I think there is an opportunity. The problem, back to the other point, is policies that will support massive job creation.
Massive.
Yes, the word is massive. Massive, not small, massive. Example. Currently, what we have now is the oil and gas. Is it Nigeria's Nigeria's job market per se is so restrictive, it's so rigid. Oil, basically. I am for diversification so much.
Miola.
Yeah, but look at, just picture this. Rather than creating a firm that is the biggest shoemaking firm in Port Harcourt, why don't we create a firm that is the biggest shoemaking firm in West Africa? Why don't we drive the West African market? Why don't we cut the Chinese, rather than the Senegalese getting on a ship or a boat and going to China to get his shoes, he comes to Nigeria. Now, the only way that is going to work is vision. There are going to be people at the helm of affairs that will immediately understand that, look, we can't play this sectional politics. Unfortunately, Nigeria is in a dark place where everybody is talking about their ethnicity and their community, and as long as we continue that narrative, we will never be able to utilize these 200 plus million people that eventually will turn around this economy, where South Africans are coming to Nigeria to buy planes. Ajakuta, that's the wonderful thing. If Nigeria could start to produce steel, then it's not about assembling cars like what Peugeot and Innocent are doing. It's about manufacturing cars. And if we start to manufacture cars, then we start to manufacture planes. And we start to manufacture planes with, Sam, imagine with me that Nigeria was a hub for the steel industry. We're manufacturing cars, we're manufacturing planes, we're manufacturing ships, and we have 200 million people. You know what that would do?
Industrial revolution.
Total. In fact, we may even start looking for the opportunity of we will welcome 300 million. We will welcome 400 million. It will be glorious. It will be fantastic. This country will never look the same. We will be in the true meaning of the word, a powerhouse, an African powerhouse. So, but we need policies, like you rightly. So, I don't look at the population as a problem right now. People can, and I listen to that argument, fine. But there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, there are religions in this country that supports and promotes giving birth. There are community. I mean, no married couple without a kid they're going to bug them to they do something. I mean, this is a country where people are stealing babies, kidnapping kids, having baby factories. So culturally, we're not there yet where we can start to say, okay, population control, and so we're not there yet. We're not in that space.
Keep growing.
Yeah, so we're going to keep growing. So accept that. I mean, it is when things are cultural and religious, you better be careful with those matters.
Sensitive battles.
They're very, so if you're trying to come against somebody's religion, that he can, somebody's culture, they're going to fight you.
Yeah.
So rather than get into that kind of fight, okay, so we're 200 million, what can we do? Our market is too small. Okay, let's start supplying Cameroon shoes. We have a large leather industry here. Let's start supplying Ghana sugarcane. Let's start supplying, in fact, our palm oil industry is something that is untapped. Let's become the West African hub for palm oil.
You see, the thing is, we have all of these things that you've mentioned, but it's the skill.
No, I think for me, it's not just the skill, it's the policy. And see, people can write things on paper. People can write, as I'm coming in, that they should, that as I've coming in as the new minister, whatever, this is what we're going to do. It's just like what I saw, the industrial ITF have signed a memorandum of understanding with the federal ministry to the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to train 23,000 youths. This was done 30th of November 2020.
Okay.
It's about 2 months old.
Yeah.
Okay. That is paper. Now, we must have the political will to drive these things. I mean, 23,000 youths is a lot.
Yes.
And I don't know if there's a vetting system, if they will be able to audit that 23,000 was actually trained. So when we create these policies, we must have the political will and the political drive. The vision first. Look, in the next 4 years, in the next 8 years, this country is going to be the West African hub for palm oil. And we're going to break through every wall that prevents that. Today we're celebrating the new administration in America. Joe Biden has come in, and the world is celebrating. I won't call myself a fan of Donald Trump, but I really liked the guy.
Okay.
I did, totally. Because he had drive. He had drive. And for somebody in 4 years to be able to divide the United States into two, that tells you a lot. If you are giving him another 8 years, probably. So I'm just drawing an example from that.
Yeah.
That we need to have the political drive. I mean, this is a vision first. We need to have the political drive to bring the vision to pass.
All right, we'll be taking calls now. But what you said earlier about recruitment,
Yeah.
that when you sit on a table where you're one of those people making decisions as to who to hire,
Yeah.
there are things you look out for. Now, I think that I like that system, but let's not kid ourselves. Not everybody is looking to do it that way. As a matter of fact, I think that people who think like this are in the minority. So that means we have a lot of people looking for jobs in spaces where the employers are looking for very specific things that they may not be able to meet up to. How's that affecting all of this?
Everything. It's affecting everything. Because if a young guy gets out of the university and he's not gainfully employed in maybe a year or two, he becomes a possible recruitment for very bad and nefarious activities. See, it is important that our youths are gainfully employed. Once that happens, insecurity will drop, violence will drop, frustration will drop, people will now have monies to do what they need to do. As per the employer, you can't force an organization to hire people in a certain way. You can't. If you tomorrow should start maybe you decide to start your own radio station, some Oracle on the waves, whatever, you have a vision, and it is pocket friendly. You're going to be so many factors you're going to have to factor in,
Yeah.
that will guide your recruitment process. So we can't start to force people.
No, we're not forcing. There could be recommendations.
Yeah, and I do that a lot. I tell them that, look, for the companies that have been opportune to, been engaged to hire for them, I first of all, I don't do 2-1 first class. It's if you pass third, everybody come. It's expensive. It is very expensive to accommodate that.
Surely.
But that is one of the first things I do, because I'm looking for acumen. I'm looking for men. I'm not even looking at your paper per se, because I know that your CV is advert. Maybe this is the first time people are hearing it. Your CV is purely advert. Some people know how to advertise very well, but by the time you talk to them, their back end, there is nothing. Exactly. But their front end is flashy. It's glorious. It's tight and everything. So, but for me, I try to go beyond that.
Okay.
And I advise companies that, look, if you can, do. But I'm also mindful of the fact that recruitment processes are very expensive.
Truly.
Even to hire somebody. That's why when companies go funky, the first thing they do is to drop people. I mean that's a terrible lesson from whatever business schools they're going to, because I don't think that the first persons, people are your best assets. I don't advocate for when you're going through something bad, the first thing you do is to drop your best hands. No. Let's look. That to me should be the last
Option
on the table.
All right. We have 12 minutes more. We're talking about tertiary institutions not having the curriculum to meet industrial needs. We'd like you to be a part of the conversation. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. And WhatsApp is 080-903-06416. Please turn off your radio as you call us. Hello?
Hello, Sam. Good afternoon.
Good morning. It's not afternoon yet.
Oh, I woke up too early. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to the guests in the studio. JD on the line.
Go ahead,
good
JD.
morning.
Sam, there's something I want to comment on, something you asked about
All right.
earlier
Mm.
during the course of the show. We talk about the fact that students should be trained. I mean, students are trained abroad, preparing them to create companies or organizations rather than them looking for jobs.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. That is the way to go, because your guest talked about industrial revolution, creating hubs, thinking global, but start with human beings, and their minds need to be programmed. So that's why I want to advocate for strong entrepreneurship departments in every school, not cosmetic entrepreneurship department. Strong one, well-funded, with good resource persons that will program the minds of Nigerian students. And when they're coming out, they know that they have the ability to take the risks of being an entrepreneur in order to make profits and in order to create jobs for
Okay.
people.
All
We
right.
should have knowledge transfer departments in schools where the schools have departments and they know that they've done research and they are prepared to give out this patent to companies to buy because they know they've done enough research that can create jobs in the future. I think that's the way to go.
Thank you very much, JD. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
My name is Kel. I'm calling from 1G.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
So for me, I think this is one of the most important discussions that we need to start having over and over again. And when these discussions comes up, we always want to go on the defensive, especially our elders in the tertiary institutions or something. I feel that the universities are providing solutions to problems that no longer exist. And until they come to that reality that the world has moved on. I mean, Oracle, if you go on your Facebook, for example, you will see universities outside here making publicity about data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, focusing more on business development, data analytics, product management, and all that. Because that's the reality on ground. But eventually, you can't be churning out millions of graduates that do not have what it takes. To be sincere with you, Oracle, we just recruited the first week of January. And you cannot believe that a graduate of computer science from Ignatius Ajuri University cannot use Microsoft packages effectively, cannot highlight documents with laptop. I mean, highlighting with laptop. And trust me, she couldn't even last after a week. And she had to be fired. There is no sympathy. There is nothing. Businesses are for profit. So until we come to that reality that we need to start producing graduates that will start solving existing problems. You can't be using a textbook you wrote 30 years ago. In 2021, when there was no smartphone, we did not have the Ferraris of this world. And you expect to produce the kind of graduates that are employable. And again, finally, Oracle, the issue of producing graduates that can create businesses and all that. Another thing is, who are to produce them? The lecturers, with all due respect, what level of training are they being retrained? How many of them are still getting scholarships? I know there was a time when you see lecturers in a tertiary institution, they are sent abroad to spend some years and then they come back. Who is going to train them? If you yourself don't even understand the business, you can't run a university successfully and make money out of the university, understand what the way it's done, and how will you be able to produce graduates that will be able to create businesses? Thank you. you very much, and God bless your guests in the studio.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael. People have said a couple of things. There are more people waiting to say things. But I'd like to ask very quickly, do you think that private universities are bridging the gap? Are they filling up the void?
Totally. I'm privy to, I don't have all the facts or all the complete information, but I was in a conversation with some people last